Well, it's Friday, and this is a status report on what's happening in the shop, the status of each of the bikes that I'm currently working on. Let's see where to start. The blue bathtub is up on the lift, and I've got the new ignition system about halfway installed. I'm going to start on the wiring right now. That's my project I'm working on. Over here, I've got. Yeah, let's digress for a minute and do a backup. Look what I've got. This is the head off of the 74 Norton that we messed up. We damaged it here. I took it to my machinist. He took off 0.010 of an inch, solved the problem. That's not going to cause us any problems. A little bit more compression, maybe a couple of pounds. We'll find out. But it's gorgeous. It's back together. And he's very knowledgeable. Most of his, as he says it, his government contracts and military work pay the bills, and he plays with motorcycles and airplanes. So he enjoys working on motorcycle stuff, thank goodness, because he does magnificent work. And the big guys pay the bills, and he does this for us for very reasonable prices. So anyway, while I was there, I asked him, I said, look, this is the copper head gasket that I like to use. We re-anneal them and reuse them. He said, yeah, that's great, that's good. And I said, this is a fire ring fiber head gasket. Are you familiar with those? And he said, oh, yeah, the Harley guys use these a lot. And I said, well, fantastic. Well, so what is your opinion on the fire ring versus the copper? And he says, they're both great. There's no problems. Use whatever you want. And I said, well, on this particular bike, when I put it back together, put the valve back in, put it back together, I was thinking about using the fire ring, just to see how it goes. And he said, sure, why not? I mean, it'll work just fine. He said, but on the other hand, and he said something very, very pertinent. He said, what I would do if I were you is keep doing what you've been doing that has been successful for you. That made me stop and think and said, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 some odd years, and on my own bikes before that, I've always re-annealed, I've always reused, I've never had a problem. Why do something that might introduce a new variable into the equation? So I'm agreeing with him. I love the fire ring. I'll probably use one someday, but on this bike, since I've already had a tad bit of problems, I'm not going to introduce another variable into it. I'm going to put the valve back in. I'm going to use the brass head gasket, and that's going to be my next project, is to get that bike back together after I finish with the ignition system on this bathtub bike. Now let's go back to the bathtub. I've got everything mounted, and I started wiring, and this is the diagram they give us. And I got to looking at it, and they say it's for positive or negative. It says so right there in that little area right there. And I looked at it and I said, no, you can't have it be both. I mean, they're showing the lights as being powered by positive, and our bikes are positive ground. And no, that's not right. So I took some time and I redrew it. And this is a revision showing how to wire the system into a positive ground system rather than the one that I was just showing you, which is what they say is for positive or negative. Now, what I did is that I emailed this to the company in the UK, Electrics, and saying, have an engineer look at this. I think it's right. I think this is right. I think this absolutely positively isn't right. I think if you do this, you're going to cause smoke and sparks. So we'll see what they respond. Now, keep in mind, I did this for 40 years in the computer industry. I was in software, hardware test and evaluation. And I can't tell you how many times I found what I considered to be failures in products, only to be told, you're the only person who's ever brought that to our attention, therefore you must be wrong. That's number one. Number two is, we've always done it that way, you must be wrong. Number three is, maybe you're not wrong. Number four is, we are looking into it. Number 5 is I never hear back, but they changed the product. So we're going to get one of those responses on this, I'm sure. Most probably they'll have a technical writer or a salesperson email me back saying, don't worry about it, just do what we say and everything will be fine. And I'm not going to. So anyway, let's see. That's the blue bathtub. I'm going to wire it the way I want to wire it and see if I get sparks. Ignition sparks, not fiery melting wire sparks. Also, with the electrics, they don't let you use an ignition switch. This is a live system at all times. You can turn the lights on and off if you have a battery. But other than that, they don't include instructions for an ignition switch. You don't have an ignition switch. The bike is just basically live always as far as the ignition is concerned. And you use the kill switch to turn it off. So you use the kill switch to turn it off, you walk away. I don't know if the ignition system is draining the battery as it sits there. Probably not, but maybe. So anyway, I'm adding an ignition switch also. All right, that takes us back to what's the schedule is. I'm going to work on the blue bike today. Once I get this bike ready for a test ride, I'm going to put the head back on this black Norton that I was working on and try to get that engine back together and running and test ridden and out of here. I'd really like to get this one out and get this one out. They've been here way too long. That takes us back to this guy who's even been in here even longer than them, and I haven't gotten near it. So when I get the blue bathtub out of here and the black Norton out of here, I will put this up on the lift, take the timing cover off, send it to Tucson, order the new tires at the same time, and start the installation of the electric starter motor, which means taking the primary part and putting a whole new Alton starter in there, along with a new electronic ignition system. I'm not doing any of those things until I get this bike up on the lift. So it'll go on the lift after I get the bathtub out, after I get this bike complete and out, then this bike goes on the lift and I will start all those processes. And if I get to a point, or when I get to a point where I can't go any farther, for example, waiting on a part, then this beautiful 75 electric start will go up on the lift. And we do doing the isolastics on it, fork seals on it, a few other odds and ends. I've got them written down. But this bike has been here a long time, and I haven't gotten to it, and I'm very sorry, but I've been running into problems with these bikes that are just almost insurmountable, way out of normal scope. Fred, Kevin and I's project bike has been sitting here forever and ever, amen. I've got the head back for it, and I can put it back together, but it has to be grade ZZZ priority. My bikes are sitting here all covered up and sad. I have to get them running before June, so I'm going to try to get them running in May because I'm going to take them to the National Norton Rally in Quincy, California in June and put them up for sale. So I want them both running when I take them up there to the rally and see if anybody wants to buy a pair of motorcycles. So anyway, that's what's happening. This is a status report, and I'm really apologetic that these bikes have been here way too long. I've never had so many bikes in my shop for so long, and having circumstances and life and parts and complexities keep me from finishing them, and that's on me. But that's the project. First, finish the bathtub. Second, finish the black 74. Third, get to work on this gold bike and try to get it out of here. Fourth, get to work on this 75 Commando and try to get it out of here. Fifth, maybe put the head on Fred and see if we can get it running again. And sixth, sometime between now and June, get my bikes running. So at this point in time, that's the way it is. And right now I'm going to go back over here and start wiring this bike the way I think it should be wired and see if we have spark. I will give you all updates at regular intervals. And that's the way it is.